Side effects. It's an opioid. It's like virtually any opioid, but the side effects generally aren't that bad. Constipation, of course. Sleepiness can occur. Sometimes people get a little buzzy and they have a little trouble sleeping. Sometimes. Other side effects include, at higher doses, pinpoint pupil itching. That's a histamine release. It's not really an allergy. Talk it over with somebody, but histamine release is like hay fever. Hydrocodone is worse than oxycodone on that one, in moi's opinion. And usually it goes away, or you can take a little Benadryl or something like that, a little antihistamine over the counter, and it tends to go away. Not necessarily an allergy. We also see it in morphine. People say, oh my gosh, he gave me IV and it made a little red streak and then I got itchy, I'm allergic. Not necessarily. Talk it over. Okay, so is there a ceiling effect? Well, it's a pure mu opioid analgesic. Remember that receptor? There it is. This is where the action starts. Hydrocodone hits that receptor. It causes a cellular response, a number of responses, leading to a number of side effects sometimes, leading to analgesia. That's what we want. We want pain relief, leading to a good outcome. That's what we want, improved function. So one of the desired side effects is pain relief, and we can get that with that drug. Now, hydrocodone and oxycodone have a lot more physiology associated with it. It's not necessarily important to go over now, but it works in the central nervous system. So like any drug in the central nervous system that releases dopamine in this little place behind the brain, primitive part of the brain, goes to the prefrontal cortex with dopamine, nucleus accumbens, and locus coeruleus, and other really important parts of the brain that you don't need to know about necessarily, you just need to know it's part of the reward system. Well, you get dopamine, it's like gasoline on a fire. People like it. And it gives them an up. And it isn't as much like a perky perk, but it is an up. And they can feel it go down. So abusability and diversion are a potential issue with this drug. Hence, Schedule 2. So hydrocodone, what you want to do when you get your prescription is make sure you understand it. If you have to go to the physician's office and ask questions about that drug, that's fine. You might be on it a while. If you get the pharmacokinetically long-acting, yeah, you might be on it a little while. A lot of reasons. Failed back syndrome, interstitial cystitis, a lot of indications, legitimate medical need. But bone break, bone hurt, it's usually not a long prescription. However, in the addiction side of the world where I live, in that sandbox, some people just feel normal for the first time in a long time when they get either an oxycodone or a hydrocodone, because those receptors in this part of the brain, there's D1, D2, D3, guess what the D is, dopamine. It doesn't matter which one, but the point being is I feel normal. That part of the brain feels okay, and it's a dopamine effect. And so after a while, they're not taking these drugs to get high. They're taking them to feel normal. And another problem we get into, and you get it with Starbucks or anything, is you get dependent on these drugs sometimes. Dependency is not addiction. Tolerance is not addiction. Dependency is where you can't really abruptly stop it. You could have mild withdrawal symptoms. It's wildly overplayed, usually, withdrawal. But, I mean, it's a flu. Sometimes it's more. Depends on what you're taking and how you're taking it. But tolerance is you got to take a little more, you got to take a little more. Keeps pushing the curve this way. And you come back here to what's called a hedonic set point. And you start feeling funky. And you kind of get into that early funk that oftentimes is mistaken for withdrawal, which it's really not. And you need another pill or want another pill to feel right. Okay. That's tolerance and dependence. It's not addiction. When you take the drug for the wrong reasons, and it's like anything else, you know when it is for the wrong reason, and it's not healthy, and you're doing it against that little voice on your shoulder, that's not what you should be doing. Don't do that. There's a little voice. Listen to it. When you're taking it against your best health, talk to someone. Really. There's a number of hotlines. There's a number of physicians services out there, and you can go to SAMHSA, SAMHSA. I think that's it. I mean, you can get all these services online, and you can check it out, and there's help. So if you need help, get help. If we're using these drugs and you have problems, respiratory problems, the world of COVID, pneumonia, flu, something like that, talk to the prescribing provider, because you might have to have a dose adjustment. Yeah. If you feel like there's a problem developing, and it could be from side effects, and it could be from the little voices talking to you, talk to someone. All right, so hydrocodone's, it's a great drug, really a great drug. In proper, experienced prescribing hands, with the understanding on the recipient side, informed consent. I'm not ever going to give up on that topic. Informed consent, it is best to have a mutual understanding where you're headed now, but those benchmarks, 3, 6, 9, and 12 months, where are you going to be? What are you doing? Benchmarks are simply put 5 things on the refrigerator. I'm going to walk at the high school, quarter of a mile, by the end of this benchmark, a month, 2 months. I'm going to go to the grocery store, and I'm going to walk and not take the buggy. I'm going to try to cut down on my medicine or talk to my healthcare provider about. I mean, these are reasonable things to obtain. Not at the end of 3 months, I'm going to run a 5K. Don't set yourself up for failure. Also, if you're undertreated or overtreated, I think you'll know it. The side effects start jumping up if you need to come down a little. If you have excessive pain despite the fact you took a pill an hour or 2 ago, you need to talk about it. Now, this freaky thing called pseudotolerance I don't think it exists. Pseudotolerance is a term that came up a couple decades ago. I won't mention names, but you need to give them more medicine because they're saying the medicine isn't working, they're undertreated. Now, there's a lot of reasons why the medicine might not be working. It has to do with metabolism, which we talked about. If you're a rapid or slow metabolizer, or you can't metabolize it genetically or whatever, well, it deserves a conversation. So these medicines are complex, but so are we as humans. We're complex. And your healthcare provider with experience with these medications, and being them common medicine, I don't have experience, can help you through a lot of this. So let me conclude by this. Good things happen to good people. I don't think, and I don't believe, that healthcare providers are in the business of being judgmental. I don't think that healthcare providers, in conjunction with their partner, the patient, is wanting anything more than a positive outcome. So work to that goal. Benchmarks, best possible outcome, minimal side effects.